welcome to ET Now Hangouts with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, we usually speak to influencers, but today to understand the business of creators economy, I'm in conversation with Ayush Shukla, who's the founder of Finnet Media. Now, Finnet Media was founded in 2020 in the midst of the raging pandemic. It has grown quickly in a full-service creative agency for finance and infotainment content creators. In just 3 years, Finnet Media has a roster of 45+ exclusive content creators, worked with over 100+ digital creators, and has helped 40+ brands to leverage the power of content creation in the most effective manner. And today we will understand the nitty-gritty of influencing from the man who manages these influencers. Ayush, welcome to ET Now Hangouts.
Thank you so much, Ankita, for having me.
So Ayush, you're the founder of Finnet Media. It's a fully serviced creative agency. You are managing influencers, plus you have some 45+ influencers.
Yeah.
We can say the top influencers of the country, you're managing them. How do you plan to revolutionize the creators economy through Finnet?
Right. I think revolutionizing would be a big word for us, but I think two ways how we are contributing to the creator economy is number one, back in 2021 when I started Finnet, nobody focused on the infotainment creators. I myself was an infotainment creator. And that is when I spotted Anushka at like 2,000 followers, Sharan at 5,000 followers, Shreya Kapoor at 6,000 followers. And I saw an opportunity there, right?
Yeah.
And when I onboarded them as influencers, even I did not know what to do with them. I just reached out to brands and solved one problem, which is the monetary problem for them.
Yeah.
Like we gave them money that they needed. So I think that was the first contribution from our end to the creators who we talk about today. Like Financial Sharan today is like 5 million, but back then it was just like 5,000 followers for me, right? So that is one revolution which I feel I contributed to. And number two, today I think it's the creatorpreneurship. Like again, if I talk about Sharan, there's the 1% club. If I talk about Think School, he has a whole masterclass. If I talk about Anushka, we are launching an influence club, personal branding, company with her. So I think two things, again, solving for brand monetization for the creators, and number two, moving that economy towards the creatorpreneurship, which is the next step.
Wow, very interesting, creatorpreneurship. We'll talk more about that, but where do you think is this creators economy headed? Do you think it has peaked out? 2020, everyone was scooped up in their homes. They were watching digital, they were consuming digital like never before. It peaked, right? It started booming, and then is it plateauing? Is it plummeting? Where is it headed?
I think the short answer is no. I don't think it's gonna go down. It's gonna go up. It's like the stock market, right? Like it's going through a correction, I feel, because so many creators are starting to creating content after 2022. Like COVID happened, a lot of creators became bigger. Then more people started creating content looking at those creators, right? And they cluttered the market. Right now, because there's a slowness in the creator economy going on, brands are not paying that much money. A lot of the creators are going away. So it will again pick up. That's what I personally feel. And where it's going, it's again going towards the
survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest for sure, and people who have depth, people who are unique, people who are different. Like
right, there are too many influencers, right? This space has become very cluttered. So going forward, you feel that the ones who are not adding value or are going to go away automatically, and the ones who are really good will survive. Is that what you mean? 100%.
I mean, you might see a spike in the beginning. A lot of people, personally, we see creators and they're like, "Arey, why is this creator at 100K? We see his content, we're not very impressed." But there are certain audience who's interested and influenced by that person. But 2 years later or 1.5 years later, you'll see that creator is no more. He might have 150K followers, but that engagement would be 0.1%. 100 likes, 200 likes. So that's like a slow death, which the creators are really scared of as well. And they
Is that happening? Is that happening to bigger influencers that you know of?
It's not happening to bigger influencers as such, because I think they are paranoid enough to keep working on themselves and keep evolving themselves. Like I remember 1.5 years ago with Sharan, he was paranoid when he was at his peak, like 1.6 million followers, getting 1 million left, right, center. At that time, he was thinking about monetizing by something else when he started the 1%.
So what goes into making of a good influence? If the young audience that's watching, people who are getting into influencing, want to become creators, what are the tips that they can follow to be a good genuine influencer?
Right. I think my definition of good influencer or successful influencer will be a little different, but I'll address both the things. Like I think people usually today want to become influencers because they want fame and money. Money is the primary reason. They want that they hit the 1 million followers mark so that they get the brand money. That is what they follow. If that is your definition of being a good influencer or a successful influencer, I think you should just add value to your audience in the niche that you can. Over a period of time, that time has now increased. 2 years ago, that was 1 year. Today, it's at least 2 to 2.5 years.
But do brands see through this? So someone who has 1 million followers, you said
Yeah.
that gets the brands moving, right?
Yeah.
But if this person has 1 million followers but isn't really adding the kind of value, say just posting really good glamorous pictures can also get you 1 million followers. You do
Correct.
see influencers
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But that's not really adding value to our lives, right?
Yeah.
Do brands see through that because you're handling so many influencers and you're getting brands for them?
Right. In the short term, no, they don't see through that. That's where we come in and we tell them
Okay.
that don't choose this creator, and then we tell them the why of it. But
Okay.
in the long term, they do see that. Like 2021, 2022, they did not see that. That's why there's so many creators getting paid left, right, center at mass. But today you see creators are being selected. We are being valued from a sense of, okay, you tell us which kind of creators you want. If you tell these creators, we'll take them. We'll not take anyone else. So now it's coming into the picture.
Okay, so you're talking about monetizing content.
Yeah.
How much on an average does an average influencer make, and how can one monetize social media better?
How much does a creator makes depend upon the following and the engagement, but
Take us through the stages then.
yeah, I was taking the stages. For example, if I have 100k followers,
Yeah.
And again, niche also depends. If you're 100k followers in an infotainment category, you can make 2 to 3 lakhs a month.
Okay.
If you are 100k followers in a fashion category, you'll probably make 30% lesser because finance brand, infotainment brands pay you more. If you are a creator at a 500k mark for an infotainment brand, again you would make around 8 lakhs a month. And if you are at a million, you can make 15 lakhs a month, and then there's no limit actually.
Is that?
Yeah.
So how do you monetize content then? Like for a young influencer who's just getting started, may not be doing it the right way, how can one start monetizing social media better?
Right. So first of all, I'm glad you asked this question because the Influence Club we just talked about.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we want to teach. Like first of all, how you can
What is
build.
the Influence Club for our audience then?
Right. So Influence Club is basically how can you build your own influence. Like 2 years ago, it was difficult to just think that how can I be a creator? I don't want to do this. Today, people are thinking, okay, I want to become a creator. I want to become a personal brand. And what is the fundamental behind it? It's influence, right? Like because I have an influence, I am an influencer. I am a personal brand.
Right.
So we want to teach that now to the larger audience of how you can get that influence, how you can become a creator. And number two, also how you can monetize it. As you rightly mentioned, a lot of people are confused. Now they know that brands pay, but why do they pay? How do they pay? How much do they pay? Is it sustainable? A lot of questions come in, right?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, how can they monetize? Even a creator with 10,000 followers can monetize. Even they can earn 30,000-40,000 rupees. And I'll tell you how. One is the brand income, which all of us know.
Yeah.
But now a lot of brands want to hire these creators to make content for their channels.
Okay.
So if you have good presence on the internet, if you're just good presence in front of the camera, they'll hire you. They'll tell you, make 10 reels for us, we'll pay you 50,000 rupees.
Okay.
Even if you have 10,000 followers.
Is that called paid partnership?
That's not called paid partnerships.
Okay.
That's called UGC, user generated content.
Okay.
That is not posted on the creator's handle. That is taken
Alright.
and then posted on the brand's page. Okay. That is one source of
That's
making
like
money.
an ad, like a commercial ad. Like you're the face of the ad.
You can say that, or you can say that content creator in-house. Like if you hire me for ET, I can make 10 reels for you. It will be posted on your channel. You're not using my distribution. So it is like a ad, but I wouldn't call it a commercial ad because it's not of that scale. It's a simple video. Like I make reels for my channel, I can make it for your channel as well. Like that.
Okay, right. Where do you think is the true value then? Is it in the long format content or the short format content? Is it on Instagram? Is it on YouTube? It's a big debate, and I've been asking this to all the influencers.
Yeah.
Well, some say that shorter format content helps you get viewers visibility quickly.
Yeah.
And longer format content, YouTube, it helps you generate a more loyal fan base.
Yeah.
Where is the value? And where are the brands gravitating more towards?
Right. I think I personally feel it's not a either or. Both platforms have their own value. As you rightly mentioned, Instagram is all for visibility and YouTube is about brand building and depth. In the short term, to answer the brand money question, it's right now going towards Instagram. Because just like all of us are getting the instant gratification from Instagram. We see, we scroll. So brands are also getting the same instant gratification. Like if a creator is promoting, they're seeing that instant spike on that brand as well. So they want to spend on Instagram. But YouTube comes where there's depth. If you want to build a brand, brands are fundamentally built with time. It will take time. That's how brands are. Now, YouTube will also take time. If you promote a brand on a YouTube channel, it will not give you an instant spike. it will go on for 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. There's no limit to it, right?
Yeah.
Instagram videos will just work for 2 days.
Yeah.
So that is the first point. And number two, it's also about context. If you talk about topics like nutrition, health,
Yeah.
and you watch an Instagram reel and he's telling about gut health, you don't understand anything. You have to go to YouTube, watch a 20-minute video, watch a playlist of what is gut health, how it can help
Yeah.
you. So the context is also very important. I don't want to risk my gut health on just a 30-second reel. I'll have to go to YouTube for that. So I don't personally like, choosing one of the platforms. Both are attacking a particular niche is what I feel.
Okay, so what are the requests from brands when they come to you? What are your conversations with brands and with influencers? What
Right.
are the challenges what are the challenges you're facing, the influencers also and the brands?
It's a painful question, first of all, because you're always
It's a raw nerve because you're in the center of both the parties.
Yeah. I mean, brands don't want to give creative freedom to the creators, and creative want the creative freedom.
Yeah.
So I think that's
So you're the negotiator?
yeah, we negotiate not only the monetary aspect but also the creative aspect for
yeah.
it. Yeah. But I think brands come for visibility at the end of the
Yeah.
day. They want as many eyeballs as you can and relevant eyeballs. Like influencer marketing, if you think about it, not just gives you distribution, but it gives you the right audience and the credibility. Like if you trust me as a creator and I associate with the brand, you are borrowing that trust from me, right?
Yeah.
So brands usually come for that. They want the best kind of creators now. Like previously they would just go for eyeballs. Now they're also very particular about the type of creators they collaborate with. And when you talk about influencers, at the first level, they only care about just get us brands, we want to monetize it,
Yeah.
with a layer of caution that they don't
Yeah.
just, if I give them 1 lakh, they won't like promote any brand. But they do want brands. They do want that monetary aspect, which is natural. Like, because once we solve monetary aspect for them is only where they'll think bigger and about other things.
Yeah.
So influencers, usually the conversation is about what is the next thing, how can we make our viewership better, how can we engage with our audience, because that in turn will lead to more brands and more money.
Yeah. So what are the don'ts then? What are the don'ts for an influencer?
Focus on adding value to your audience and don't run behind the follower. Follow the audience, not the brands. Because if you go in the brand
But how do
chase,
you measure that then?
by not measuring your followers itself. Like if a
Okay.
creator is telling me I'm not growing, I ask them, what do you mean by not growing? Like my number is stuck at 500,000
Yeah.
followers. I'm like, then you should not focus on that 500,000 followers. You should focus on the audience. What is the audience feedback? And more or less what is figured out is that they are not evolving with their audience. They are not changing their content piece. What worked for first 6 months does not work. It will also work the next 6 months, right?
Right.
Like you have to keep evolving. We were talking about Ranveer. He's a great example of how he kept evolving.
Yeah.
Tanmay is a great example of how he kept evolving.
Right.
Sharan is a great example of how he's evolving right now. We can see
Right.
that transition
Yeah.
happening. So if you don't change with the audience, like just like companies die, you will also die as a creator. So I feel,
So what's working right now? What are the current trends?
I think storytelling is working right now on
Okay.
Instagram. Storytelling reels where you show a lot of visual aspect, put a voiceover about it and then talk about it.
Is it someone like Nas Daily? Like the visuals and the story, he has a story to tell? Is that
Yeah.
something like that?
That is precisely correct. But another tweak you can do to it
Yeah.
is like if you think about Nas, he's very production heavy. He travels a lot.
Exactly.
But just imagine not putting your face all the time, but recording good aspects of your life. Then putting a voiceover. Same concept, just that Nas puts himself out a lot.
Right.
The other one just does not, just puts his voice a lot. Like that
Right.
kind of real storytelling, visual reels, seeing the scenery and then talking about the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
It can be anything. It can be lifestyle. I see a lot of this content working right now.
Okay. Also, you spoke about a very interesting concept of creator entrepreneurship,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What are the different avenues
Yeah.
a creator can explore after once you've built your brand?
Right.
What are the different aspects that one can look at
Right.
for monetization?
Right. So I think, if you want to build a business, you don't need a lot of things. You need 3-4 things. One is credibility, one is
Yeah.
trust, one is audience, which is distribution, and one
Yeah.
is product.
Okay.
Now, if you think about a creator, they don't have a product, but they have rest of the things. They have a distribution, they have credibility, and they have
Yeah.
trust. Only thing they need is a product.
Yeah.
Now, as a creator, once you hit that distribution, like for example, if I've hit 1 million, the question next of a creator which we have is, what is next? What do we now? Because we are making money.
Yeah.
They make money. They have hit their fire number in a couple of years, in
Yeah,
3 years.
yeah.
So they have to do something. It's not compulsory to do it, but a lot of creators naturally start becoming entrepreneurs because 75%, 3 out of 4 things are
Yeah.
there. So I think the natural next step would be think about the closest product. It can be a service or a tech product or a
Yeah.
physical product
Yeah.
which comes close to your audience because
Yeah.
you understand them very well and they will buy from you
Interesting, yeah.
because they trust you.
Yeah.
Right. For a Sharan, that was his finance
1%
course,
club,
right?
yeah.
For a king, it's his perfume.
Yeah.
For a tech burner, it's the tech gadgets and the tech
Yeah.
skin and all that, right? For a Ranveer, because he's so close to meditation, it's the
Yeah,
meditational
meditation
app.
app.
So
Yeah.
that's I think the roadmap you should follow if you want to become an
So you
entrepreneur.
build a business from your own brand that you have built.
100%.
Right.
Just 2 tips for now.
So, all right. So, on that note, Ayush, thank you so much for joining us. It was
Thank you
very
so much, Ankita.
informative, and I'm sure all the influencers who are watching you will have a lot to take away from this.
Thank you, Ankita, for having me. It's an honor.
Well, on that note, it's time for us to slip into a short break. You don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're tuned into ET Now Hangouts with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, in this segment, we track what's trending in the market. And on this episode, we are taking a look at the booming furniture market in India. Well, India is the 5th largest producer and the 4th largest consumer of furniture globally. In 2024, the furniture market in India is projected to generate a revenue of 5.3 billion US dollars, and this market is expected to grow at a compounded annual CAGR of 8.17% from 2024 to 2028. And out of this big market, children's furniture commands just 12% globally and 3% in India. And addressing this market, Smartsters, a homegrown children's furniture and decor brand, opened its door in September 2023. Brainchild of the Future Group scion Ashni Biyani, this brand is set to capitalize the increasing demand due to growing middle class and increasing urbanization in today's times. I'm in conversation with Bikram Mitra, who's the design head at Smartsters. Bikram, welcome to ET Now Hangouts. Bikram, Smartsters opened its doors in September 2023. What was the rationale behind Smartsters? What was the market problem or the need gap that you're addressing with it?
So, as we all know, post-pandemic, we realized that children are spending a lot of time inside the house, and the home is becoming a space not only for, for sleeping and for playing, but also for learning, with work from home and learning from home coming to play. And we realized that from a psychological perspective, that's a huge impact on children who need kind of open spaces, they need social interaction and so on. And when we started looking deeper into this and speaking to child psychologists, we realized that children, their interior spaces, their home spaces and environments have a big role to play in their learning development, in their growth development, and so on. We also found that there's no real brand which is looking at the children's room space in a serious manner. And when I say serious manner, I mean it is not just about creating furniture, but it's about looking at children from a psychological perspective, looking at their growth development needs, and so on. And therefore, we saw a market opportunity in India. Whereas there are a lot of other brands, but we are the first, in my view, we're the first design-led, child development-centric brand which is homegrown from India. And that was the market opportunity we saw, and we see that this space could be a 10,000 crore space in 4 to 5 years, and that was the inception of the brand.
Right. Vikram, you spoke about how other brands also exist in this space. So tell us about the competition from the likes of Urban Ladder that already has an omni-channel presence, or Pepperfry, or for that matter, even the unorganized sector, which commands a larger chunk of the furniture market.
So there is a lot of children's furniture available in the market. Typically, with a lot of the bigger retailers, the children's room is a tail end of their brand and not the core. And I think that's what differentiates Smartsters from some of the other brands, because children's furniture and children's decor is the core of our brand, and not just part of a larger home offering that we have, that we're giving to customers. So therefore, we see that Smartsters has a potential to grow just basis the fact that the children's market in India could be quite big. If you look at the children's market in terms of furniture globally, 12% of furniture is normally for children globally. In India, it's only 3%. And this cannot be done if your children's furniture range or children's decor range is only part of your brand. It has to be the core for you to really have that sort of focus in terms of product development and design.
Right. So you also mentioned that children's furniture is just 12% of the furniture market globally and 3% in India, right? So what is the headroom for growth? And, children usually outgrow their stuff like clothes. They also outgrow furniture. So what is the headroom for growth in that case?
So there is headroom, right? So you want to go from 3 to 12% or somewhere in the middle. So there is quite a bit of room compared to where we sit globally. If you look at our TG, if you look at the people we're trying to sell to, it's basically anyone who has a dedicated children's room in their home, which in urban India is about 9%. The other kind of statistic is if you look at the school market, you have about 5 lakh children going to schools, going to international schools with fees ranging from 4 lakh to 10 lakh a year. So in terms of spending power, the customer is there. In terms of the customer understanding for the need of a child's room within their home and dedicating money to developing a space within their home for child development, that has yet not happened in India. That's something that's growing. So potentially there's a huge market for us to grow both in terms of acquiring customers as well as educating customers and basically being the thought leaders in the space.
Right, Bikram, you have opened up your first independent store in Pune. Now, before this, you had an in-store store. Tell us about your expansion plans and the omni-channel approach that you would be adopting.
So the way I like to explain this, that there are 3 customer touch points, and the first one being the full experience touch point. And so that would be, as you said, the EBO that we've launched in Pune, which is the full brand experience center. The second would be spaces where we want customers to discover us. So in physical retail, that would be hometown stores. So somebody typically looking for home furniture at large, not just in their children's space, would see our brand within multiple hometown stores in India. In the online space, something like Amazon is an area where we are very, very big. In fact, some of our products were bestsellers on Amazon. And the third one, which is the most exciting for us, is the delight category, at least the way I like to describe it. And when we're talking about delight, we're talking about delighting the end customer, which is the child. And therefore, we looked at spaces where children go, and that is, bookstores and toy stores. And therefore, we've opened up in Hamleys as well as Crosswords. We have, a store-in-store presence in some of these locations.
All right, Bikram, thank you so much for joining us today. That was very insightful. Thank you so much for joining. And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of ET Now Hangouts. I'll be back next week with some more interesting conversations, what's trending and what's hot for the weekend.